Jack, as you know, we're all about giving value here at Colourplane. So what we're going to do, we're committing to 3 podcasts a week. They're going to be released on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. That's here in Melbourne.
That's a lot of podcasts.
That is a lot of podcasts, Jack, but we wouldn't have it any other way.
We're all about bringing value on this Colourplane podcast. And so I think 3 per week feels right to us. A way that you guys can give us a little bit of value in doing so would be to please follow and give us 5 stars if you guys enjoy. We'd really, really appreciate it.
Mean the world, guys. Thank you so much. Enjoy. Community building. It's a huge part of what we do here at Colourplane. And we also have a massive announcement for you guys today. We're going to get to that very shortly, but first, Jack, how are you doing?
Good, Jesse. Good to be here. Feeling good. Lots of energy today. So, yeah.
Love it.
Community building. Let's talk about it. So, yeah, this is obviously something that Jesse and I put a lot of time into, and with this business so far, we've really made an effort to build that community through different channels. And I think something that we're finding, amongst other brands and businesses is, this community thing becoming almost like a trend.
It's like a buzzword.
Yeah.
It's community this, community that.
Yeah, it's kind of like the new greenwashing during COVID, and, all the environmental and sustainability practices, I guess you could say, that was kind of, everyone was kicking up a fuss about. So yeah, that's kind of become the new thing, I guess, community.
Since COVID, I agree. Yeah, I think isolation, people becoming more lonely. I read a stat somewhere that 51% of America has experienced some form of medication through loneliness, depression. That was from the age groups of 18 to 24. That might be a bit of a TikTok reference there. It wasn't, but it sounded like one. So yeah, as you can tell, there is a huge amount of loneliness coming out of COVID. And I'm sure we've all experienced moments of that too. So I think community, there is certainly a need for it. It's just a shame to see brands that have been around for 20 years, Jack, that seem to care about community now, but not for the last 18 years.
Yeah, and it's something that you definitely have to start from day one.
Agreed.
You can't be 15, 20 years into a business or a brand and then suddenly say that you care about the community, because your customers are just going to see right through that.
100%. And I like to sort of, take a leaf out of our cap, if I will, for a second, because we've been filming this podcast from day one. We literally hadn't made a sale to anyone. Still really haven't, to a small degree, but I think, we're 21 episodes in right now, and it feels really early. Mm-hmm. We started this podcast, I believe, about 3 months ago or something. And we want to show you guys, whilst it's raw, we know there's a lot of white space behind us. We know that we got to change some things up, but at the end of the day, this is what a real community is. It's realness. I think to digress a little bit, I think a community is built sort of step by step, and whether that's in the DMs, responding to someone with proper care and respect for one another, that's huge, and people can feel that. It's almost like a friend would respond to you like that.
For sure. Yeah, there's always those little things that go the furthest, I think, and we obviously make a huge effort to make sure that we're doing those things well. And yeah, so today we're going to go into, I guess, us a little bit, kind of our philosophy on building a community, how we're trying to go about it. We're obviously at very early stages, but we're pretty happy with the community that we've been able to build thus far.
Huge, man. Yeah, it's just I honestly wouldn't run a business any other way, because you feel a level of support, especially from the early days, which is right now for us. I think we've only been on social media for a handful of months, yet we feel so supported. You get some, just the other day, Jack and I were having a meeting and a coffee. I know it sounds like we have a lot of those, but we definitely do work. We do work within those, I promise. But this guy just came up. We were sitting outside, and he just went, "Love the podcast." And Jack and I our jaws dropped, because it's just that's what a community is.
Yep.
It's people supporting. There's no better way to start a business. So
yep, 100%. So yeah, I think just the message from us is you need to respect. Community's obviously become a buzzword, but it definitely needs to be respected as a big part of your business. And so today we've actually come across an article. It was published about 4 months ago by McKinsey and Company, which is a huge management consultancy firm. They did about 15 billion in revenue last year. So I think 40,000 employees. It's coming from a very credible source. They've been around forever. And so they published an article that was titled "A Better Way to Build a Brand, the Community Flywheel." So they've called it a flywheel, but we're looking at it as more of a 5-step process for kind of building a community, if you will. Yeah. So we thought it'd be a good exercise for us maybe to run through it today because we love the steps they've outlined, and we can kind of go into it a little bit for us here at Color Plane of maybe what that looks like for us.
Definitely.
To give you guys an idea. Cool.
Yeah, I think this one, it's really nailed it. And, I've been building communities for the best part of 4 or 5 years, and it actually makes me laugh quite a lot because sometimes I feel like I wrote some of these paragraphs because not to say I'm, the king community builder, I've got a lot to learn. But with that said, for such a big company to write this and be so specific with some of their words and a lot of what we're about to cover, I think you'll get a sense of that in a minute. But let's kickstart these 5 steps. So before we dive in, I want the listener to know each step follows each other, follows the next.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to just jump to step 4 and start there.
Yeah, you can't have one without the other.
Correct.
They all rely on each other. So number 1, community focus. Target the whole, not just the one. So this one, I think, Jess, really just comes down to narrowing in on who your community is and who you're targeting.
Yeah, it's really understanding your community. What are they about? What do they need? What brings this community together?
Yep.
Let's apply that straight to us. I think the number, it's quite broad, but it does make sense because we're working with soft drink brands, YouTube creators, list goes on, gyms,
corporate businesses.
It's like these don't seem to make a lot of sense together, but there is one combining factor for all of them that we've seen, and that is a love of high quality streetwear.
A love and a need, I guess.
Love and a need, I think there's been a long time, and we've spoken ad nauseum about, clothing in general and the quality of the industry. And we all agree that it's been the same for a long time. Probably the best way to put it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're coming in, shaking it up a little bit. We're bringing in really high quality, heavyweight cotton, sustainable, a ton of different colors, just trying to mix it up. So long story short, we believe what brings our community together is the high quality, the love of a high quality garment.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Of course, targeted in Australia for now.
Mm-hmm.
We do want to take this overseas. That's no secret. You guys are going to help us get there. So let's drop a little 5-star review. There you go. There's a little.
You got it in there.
There's a little call to action.
Oh, that's good. I think one important point on this community, and when you are trying to figure out maybe who that target market is or who your community is, it's really important that you do your research and really understand who you are trying to target. And I think for Jesse and I, we probably don't give ourselves as much credit, and we probably just take it for granted that we know who our community is. But really, that's been formed in the 4 years previous that Jesse's been running his own brand, and me doing my own thing for a year and a half, 2 years in the blanks industry. It's like we have been in our customers' shoes,
definitely
in our community's shoes. So we do really understand the problem and the need.
Yeah, absolutely. We've run brands, and then we love buying from different brands too. And we've seen a lot of different quality from brands in Australia to overseas. So it's just being a genuine lover of fashion, and that's why we're so tapped in to that community. So that's the first step.
Cool. Second is having a hero product. So what is your hero product? I guess you need, one champion product or one great product that people need or want to buy.
Yeah, this is probably one of my favorite steps. I think it's all about the champion product. It's that one thing that when people think about your brand, they just go that. So that could be a design. Doesn't necessarily need to be, just a t-shirt or just a hoodie. That could be like a puff print that you do across all your hoodies.
Good example is Crocs. When you think of Crocs, you think of that crazy shaped shoe,
that
clog thing.
Yep. Yeah, and no matter what, like they've done high heels with Balenciaga, Justin Bieber, Post Malone collaborations. The list goes on. They've done everything. But you don't think of that when you think of Crocs. You think of that classic out in the garden Croc.
Yep.
Right? That's their champion product.
Yep.
For us, or their hero product, sorry. Same thing, I reckon. But for us, we believe it's going to be our hoodie. We think the biggest need in the market, t-shirts certainly as well. Like I think it's right thereabouts, but I just haven't seen a really high quality wholesale hoodie.
Yeah, I think the hoodie is definitely our main point of difference.
Definitely.
For sure. So we think it's obviously early days, but if we were to guess right now, we'd say that would be our hero product.
Yeah, and from the initial sales we made, if you haven't seen how much revenue we've made and you want to go find out, episode 19, there you go. Go have a little look. But from the customers we work with so far, it's just been pretty much hoodie centric, hasn't it?
Yep. Cool. Well, I reckon that's pretty self-explanatory, that one. We don't probably have to dive in much further. Let's move on to number 3. So the third step in the process is talkable and credible brand story. Be outspoken about your brand values.
Yeah, I think this one's quite an interesting one. And for us, Jack, our product's just come out. We've just sent out a bunch of samples. We actually haven't really even posted about it on our social media just yet. So we have a long way to grow with our brand story and our narrative. With that said, I think we're two young men. We're both 25. We're coming into a super conservative, old-fashioned industry. I don't think there's a 25-year-old employed in any part of this industry, right? Let alone two guys running one company. So long story short, I think our narrative is people that want to shake up an old-fashioned industry, want to bring in tons of color, and the color extends out to our marketing. We want to push the boundaries, and you're going to see some of that. We're actually, as you heard in our last podcast, we're mucking around with some 3D modeling, really trying to get innovative.
Yeah, we're definitely trying to disrupt things. And I guess a mindset that me and Jesse have a lot is like we want to be everything that our competitors are not. And so I think that's a really good one for us, and it probably helps guide us in making certain decisions with marketing or with a crazy idea, and we're like, they would never do that, so like let's fucking do that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think this third step ties really well into your first step, because you need to understand your brand, your
community.
I'll get this out correctly. So your brand's values and your narrative needs to align with the community you're targeting, and they should just go hand in hand.
And their values, right?
And their values and the needs that, what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. So we're getting hit up by, a YouTuber that's looking for high quality cotton blanks, and that aligns with our vision, because we're going, they give us that phone call that we hear all too often. It's, I've called all the competitors, I've seen all those products, and I just don't fully believe in them. Mm-hmm. And then Jack and I go into Vietnam, spent thousands of dollars on sampling to ensure this product is what they want, because we are tapped into the community, to the streetwear industry. Jack, we would never make anyone pay for this information in this podcast.
Never, Jess.
No way. We're in this for the long term. We want to be doing this for a serious long time to come. Jack, what's the best way to go about it?
Guys, the one thing you can do, a small ask that we have, is if you could please just review and rate the podcast, give us a follow. That stuff goes so far for us. Not only does it help us keep doing what we're doing with this podcast, but it can also, have an impact on someone else who might not come across our podcast if it wasn't for that follow or that rate or review. So guys, please do that for us. That'd be much appreciated.
5 stars just under the logo, guys. Jump on the homepage. 5 stars. Love you.
Number 4 is an engaged and active community. So kind of fueling the conversation, I guess.
Jack, let's drop the announcement. This is a perfect place for it.
Here it is. We should get like some bells or like
I think we need like a little drum roll. Put that in there,
from
please.
Dig on the desk, maybe.
Guys, we are really happy. This feels like the extension of our community growing. We have a Facebook group that we're really proud of.
Yep.
You've probably heard it spoken about on this podcast quite a lot, and that's for good reason, because we love what we're doing there. And the community, I think you were talking about it the other day, Jack, we've seen at least 5 different members of the community come together.
Collaborate on different things, which is... it just means so much to us.
That's
why we're doing it, really.
Correct. That stuff means as much as making a whole bunch of sales.
Correct.
Like when you see people from different states connect, it's really special. And I think that's exactly what we're talking about. When we talk about community, we're not coming here. We've never once, just if you're not in the group, I want to make it clear to you, we've never once posted a product or anything like that and said, I don't even think we've ever posted the prices in the group and said, hey guys, time to buy now. That'll never, ever happen.
Yeah. And it shouldn't if you're building a true community.
That's right. I think when we talked about these big brands diving into communities nowadays, I think we see through that, because that's trying to build a community to increase sales. We build a community to increase information across from one another. We all know we're in this crazy TikTok age where, things are going viral that can literally change your brand overnight, right? We've had a ton of guests on this podcast that have explained that really well and been exponents of that. But that's a big thing for us, Jack. And
this has been a long drawn out.
I know.
Up to the announcement.
I know.
You did say you're going to announce it.
I better just announce it, Jack. So our Facebook is now growing into a Discord. We think that's the next best step to build this community. We want to bring people from all over the world. We want it to be more instantaneous with the communication.
Mm-hmm.
We think as much as we love our Facebook group and we will still continue to nurture it, Discord provides a level of communication that's just unmatched by Facebook. It's faster, it's more direct.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of research into it, and Digby's been working his butt off getting it all set up for us. So that's pretty much here, is it? Yeah, Jess?
It's all ready.
It's all ready.
It's all ready to go. And, you know, as a little bit of value, because we love giving value. That's our number one thing. Never forget that. But to give absolute value, we're going to show our first photo shoot. There's all the colors that we've shot. We got incredible models in. That was probably the most special day of the business so far. That was a great day. Shout out to Mo, the photographer. Incredible. And we'll also have the 3D modeling. I know you saw a flash of it on the last episode. It's been refined. Jackson's doing an incredible job. So
yeah, we'll chuck some stuff like that in there. But for us, it's really just going to be a great space where we can engage.
Correct.
And be active within our community. Probably more so than the Facebook group. It's just probably enables us to, get in there a bit more and be more active. So that's why we're moving across to Discord. So if you want to jump on that, please do.
Definitely.
Lots of exciting things happening in there. Lots of value to be had.
If you're loving the podcast, it'll be like the podcast, but more interactive, more instantaneous. Jump in there, guys. We'll have the link in the notes below.
Cool. So that was number 4, which was engaging and being active within your community. So that's kind of one of the ways that we are doing that moving forward. Last step, number 5, is effortless transactions. So, and the article kind of breaks this down by saying removing all friction, and it's more talking about from like a checkout standpoint or a sales perspective. So like closing the sale, I guess.
Yeah, I think you've done all the hard work. If you've cultivated a community, because mind you, this is tough work. It's as I said, step by step. You're layering bricks. You don't just go from 0 to 100 building a community, right? It doesn't work like that. There's a real element of a community, and I think once you've built it, you've done an incredible job, which hopefully we're on our way to doing. We're still very early. We're aware of that. But the last thing you want is to have barriers around selling your product. You don't want a messy website where you can't find your hero product and it's all scattered. So make sure your website's clean, it's fast paced, it's really just easy to check out on.
Yeah. For us, that looks like, lots of clear information. So customers are coming across our website and they're clear on the pricing, they're clear on the details of the garments maybe, or
definitely
they're clear on shipping terms and all that kind of thing. Just make sure all the information is there for them to make a calculated purchase. And then obviously just how does the website flow, how many clicks until the customer can get to checkout, how easy is it to check out, all those different things.
Yeah, make it simple. Less is more. You've heard it before. That was Dr. Seuss rhyming. But just to conclude, there was one really interesting finding from McKinsey Group's article. And mind you, they've put a lot of resources behind this and they've researched very thoroughly for us. And we're very grateful for that. And this finding, I believe, is a great way to conclude this podcast. They have said that if you do follow these 5 steps and do it successfully, that 75% of the content of your brand will be user generated, meaning you'll only ever build 25% of your brand's content because that's how tapped in your community is.
Yeah, your community will be doing the other 75% for you.
Yeah, so this will pay off. And that's not the reason you're going to do it. You're going to do it because you believe in that community, you're a member of it, you care, and you will have to show that first. And you will not get that result of 75% user-generated content, but it will come.
Yeah, it's a long-term play. Everything we talk about on this podcast is looking at things through a long-term lens, so never think it's just a short-term thing we're talking about. We're always looking long.
No, not at all. And I know we've said it, we can't express how excited we are about this Discord. I think this is going to change our community forever. I really believe that, Jack.
Yeah, really excited to see just what we can do. And, we have a ton of ideas already for that group and we just can't wait to get started. So if you guys want to jump in, please do that. We'll put the link down here again for you guys. Thanks, Digby. Appreciate you. And hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hope you guys are a little bit clearer on maybe how you can go about starting a community and putting one to last.
Apply the 5 steps, guys. Have a good night.